Hey guys, welcome back to episode number 12, and in this episode I would like to add another item button, and we are going to use a so-called use button, or if you want to be more specific you can also just name it heal, but use is like in general, and I think this is like what most games do, especially in Resident Evil it was like this, so just having another button for use. And this is basically a button we can assign to almost every single item, not just only like a healing item, also for a key, or maybe you can also use this for like equip. So yeah, but before we can start, make sure that you have a mesh and the textures, so the materials assigned to its mesh. And if you don't have any like healing item, just go online and search on Sketchfab or the Unreal Engine Marketplace, and there's always something, even if it's not really visually appealing, just in order to have something, try to find something decent. And when you get this, also make sure that you make a thumbnail, so you can just import it into Blender, the mesh, then just assign the materials and make like a transparent render of this mesh. And then you have like a PNG of this file, of this render basically, and then you can just implement this PNG into your project here, and then you have a thumbnail which you can use for the inventory, like as an inventory thumbnail. So let me just pause, and I will just import a green herb. Alright, I'm back, and I just imported all those folders from my own project straight away. Outside of the project, of course, so I didn't just drag and drop, but I was just copy paste all these folders into my like this course project folder. I might need to reassign the materials, I believe. Yes, I think it looks like I need to reassign the material. So yeah, I will just quickly reassign also those materials, and then again I will be back. Okay, I'm back, and those two materials should be fine for now. And let's also maybe just clean up our folder structures. Inside our inventory, I just have like a whole folder for bullets. I'll just put it here, and then I will just have another folder just for healing. Yeah, just for healing. So move everything here. Okay. Icons, I can just use like another folder and call this UI. Just put those in here. Yes. Yeah, and we have the placeholder for now. Okay, let me go inside the mesh and just reassign. Oh no, this is the bullet. I mean, of course, healing, the mesh for this. So we are going to use this one. I just modeled this like a couple of days ago. We had, what is it called? Yeah, this herb vase, and then we have the herb itself. Okay, I just made it a little bit of like translucent and just added like this slight blue greenish tint to it on top, so just to like that this item is like shining out when you're in the game, and everything looks like you are in this like horror, like bloody horror, abandoned dark scene, but this stuff is like yeah, you just can see, oh, this is something I need. So I just made this a little more like subsurface scattering and stuff like that. Okay. So now let's go into the inventory again, and we get the item cube. Do you remember the item cube? This was like our first official placeholder item. So this is a single item. You can see here it's not stackable, and we don't want to have this stackable. So the current stack is 1 and the max stack is 1. So if it's not stackable, make sure that this is 1 and 1. And we use this as a green herb, so this is the type. Every time we get class defaults, we have also the item type, and this one is the green herb. This is pretty important. So if you add another one, maybe the first aid spray, of course you set the type to first aid. Okay, and then of course we need to change the mesh. So the mesh is not the cube, but it is the herb. And then the material is already assigned, because I did assign it inside the mesh itself. Let's go to the blueprint. And the cube is not the cube, but it's the green herb. And then description is, let's just name this recovers health. For example, later when you have like the first aid spray, or I don't know, you can use pills or something like this, medicine, and you want to decide, okay, this is not just replenishing a little bit of health. Let's say this is going to heal like 25% of our maximum value, of course. So it would only be like 25. But if you have like a first aid spray or like pills or medicine, like a medicine bottle, for example, we can decide, okay, this one is pretty rare to find in the game, but then the description would be like replenishes health significantly, for example. Okay, I'm talking too much, but you get the idea. We don't need this, so just delete the item image and mesh in the blue. No, not the image. You can delete that mesh, but the image we will replace, not reset. And we are going to replace this with the green herb, PNG in my case. So make sure that you have a good PNG of your item, which is transparent. And then you are good to go. Now we should see we have this herbal item. Sweet. Let's run over there and we see, yeah. Why is this blue? Why is the color blue? I think, let me just quickly change this. And also, why do we have a static mesh here? Delete. I had another static mesh there, so I was just deleting that. Sorry for this. Yeah, this is a bug. So it's, of course, it's not blue. He was not changing it. So the first slot was not changed. This is herb base. Yes. Okay. So now we're good. And then let's go there and pick it up. And you can see you have a herbal item. And now we cannot click on it, so we cannot use it. If I press the right mouse button, we cannot use it. This is pretty boring and pretty senseless. So what we need to do, we create another button, and then behind this button we create a healing function. And before we do this, we need health, actual health. And I think we can just add, let's say, yeah, let's just add a, you can use a float and we call it health. Let's just be more specific and call it player health. And then we put this into the category player attributes. Let's just call this player attributes. Compile and save. And then let's just hard code this. I like to use like key F. So just type in key F, get this F key. And then we can just get our health. Just get and not set. And our default value is 100. So we have 100 health, and let's just print this. So we know that this is 100, but I want to give myself some damage. So we have no like enemies, of course. So what we can do is just get the player health again and subtract it. Just hard coding it, and we subtract, like we receive damage like 25. So from 100 we receive 25 damage every time. And then, of course, we set this player health again to its new value every single time. And then we don't need this, and we can just connect that one up, like so. Also, let's give ourselves like some kind of death animation when we hit 0. So just to see what's going on, it makes things a little bit more fun. So what you can do in this case, let's just get our mesh, our character mesh, and we can just go to, where is it? Collision. Let's search for collision. And let's get, not custom, let's get ragdoll. Okay, compile and save. And then you can just from here, from the mesh, set simulate physics. So the mesh physics, set simulate physics. And then, oh, he's already giving us another mesh. We don't need that. And we can just simulate, enable this one. Compile and save. So every time we should see, once we, let's see on the top left. So now I have 75. Oh, sorry, I forgot the branch. I'm really sorry. So let's get a branch, of course. This can only happen if this is equal 0. So when we have 75, then 50, 25, we are not firing this one. But once we reach 0, then we are dead, and we just use the ragdoll. 75, 50, 25. This is funny. Maybe I should just get this one instead. That makes more sense. So just get the player health and not just connect it directly. It doesn't make any sense. So now 75, 50, 25, and 0. And now this is just our death animation. What's pretty amazing is I can move the camera when I'm dead. This is pretty funny. Okay, yeah, this is something you're going to enable. When your actor is, like when you're dead, of course, then you just disable input. So you cannot move the camera. Or just in case if you want this, you can just leave it at this. But now we just continue to make our healing function. So let's prepare another button. We go into the inventory, WB item menu. Let's close this one. So click on the reload button and just Control D. Now inside here, inside the vertical box, we have this reload button. But this time we just call this heal button. And the reload is a different, in my case, an image. You have to change the text here on the right side. But in this case, I have like a healing image. I have like an image for everything. So let me just check the reload is 180 by 50. So this one needs to be 180 by 50. And okay, and all those other values are good. Make sure that this one is focusable. So click on this new button and it should be focusable because we did duplicate it by Control D. So you should be fine. Reload is not basically just reload, but in this case here it is heal. Okay, just compile and save. From the healing button, click on this button again and on-clicked. And then we are going to get teleported here to the reload function we had previously, or we already have. And now we can just get ourselves a healing function. The good stuff about this is we already have a macro. So inside this macro we have already we can already get our AC inventory. So get owning player pawn, and from our owning player we own this component AC inventory, and then we just have a connection from this. And the same I did with the held item. Just get the class defaults, and I just get the item type straight away from the class defaults. So we save ourselves a lot of trouble. Sorry, I want this. And I can just copy those two macros and put them here, because from here we need a function to heal ourselves, and also we need the item type. So let's start by getting the switch out of this item type first, and this time we drag from the green herb. And then when you have another healing item, you also do this, you also connect the first aid spray to this function. So you basically have two connecting to our function which comes from the AC inventory. So before we can continue, compile and save, we go, before we proceed, let me just rename the cube, because this is not a cube anymore. Now this is the green herb. Compile and save. Let's just leave it aside because we also need to set a healing value here inside our children. Yeah, and this also means we need a boolean. Is item like a healing item? So we also need this one. Let's do the function first. So into the BPRE character, right click on the AC inventory and edit the AC inventory. We don't need the reload function, just close this, and we use the plus here for F heal. Let's be more specific again. F green herb heal. Yeah, so I'm just calling it F green herb heal because later I have something like F first aid spray heal. Okay, so we always make sure that we can use different types of items to make our game a little bit more fun. And yeah, so compile and save. We need first of all, we need a float as well. So we have already a float in the player DP, but I just want to do it here, okay? So this variable name is called player health. And let's do the category player attributes. Okay, so we get this. And inside our BPRE character, we can just delete this. Yeah, we can delete it. And now this was just for testing purposes. But just get the AC. And then get player health. And we do this one. And then set player health. And we do this. So it gets subtracted. And at the same time, we print. And if the player health is 0, then we do our death animation. And I just want to print this value. Okay, so this is just to see. Now we just changed our player health and we don't have it here in our player VP anymore. So let's just concentrate and let's do the healing function. So we are going back to our AC. Now we have the player health here inside our AC and we need to set it as well. So when we get damage, our player health is always, we start with 100, and when we heal, we get our item type. So get from the inventory, just let's check if this particular item is in our inventory. So the green herb is in our inventory. If it is, we can heal. So what we're basically doing here is like some kind of like a double check, because when we click on heal in our item menu, we can only heal when we have the right item type anyway. So we don't really need this check, but I just want to make sure that before we can proceed that we also have this item in our inventory. So it's not needed to have this, but let's just make sure that we always have enough checks to be like as specific as possible. So for the green herb, we want to heal, let's say, so if our player health, for example, so we are damaged, and for example our player health currently is 50. This is just an example. So set this to 100. So I forgot to set this to 100 by default. But let's say this value is now 50 because we got damaged and the zombie was biting us. We can now just get this player health, which is now 50, and we just add, in this case I want to add like, let's say 25 to my player health. So my health is going to get replenished by 25. Yeah, so this is what I believe should be fine. So you can, I mean, if you want to be really like 100% correct, you can also just Google like how many, like what is the percentage of the green herbal item in Resident Evil, for example, something like this. I didn't do it, so but you can just Google it, of course. So player health, I just add 25 to my player health, but I need to clamp it because we can heal, so we can use the green herb every single time. So even if we have full health, we still can use it, I believe. So you can always waste your herbal item if you're like not really intelligent, but we make sure that we always clamp the float in this case, because we're using a float variable. So make sure that you always clamp if you're using like calculations like those, that the max is in this case, of course, 100. So if you, for example, you have 80 health, so you got bitten and your health is like 80 or 76, and you heal with plus 25, then you can have more than 100, of course. And this is not really how it works. So we always heal with 25. This is what the green herb item is always giving us, but not more than 100. So the value would not be more than 100. Yes, this is it, right? I believe, I mean the healing function is pretty, like this is pretty simple, but I'm thinking, should I get like a boolean for this? Should I get a boolean? No, we don't need a boolean for this. It doesn't make any sense. So let's just get this function f green herb heal. Just connect this one, make this straight, and then I want to play a sound. Play sound 2D, and then I have like a couple of sounds. Let's do heal. No, I just have the inventory sounds for now here. So let's just get like this. I also have like, I have sounds for basically everything, but let's just get like this success. Yeah, let's get this one. Of course it's not perfect, but it's just so we can continue to move on. And okay, cool. I mean, we don't need to have this type of error, so we cannot reload when the reload is, when our magazine is full, we cannot reload, you can see here. Then we get an error, and the focus will be set back to the inventory, so we can continue to navigate inside our inventory, but we cannot reload. In this case, we can always use our green heal item. In this case, we can always use our green herb, right? So even if you're like, doesn't matter if you have full health or not, once you have it inside your inventory, you can always use it, and you can even waste it. So this is completely fine, but we need to make sure that we just get this one and this one. We just hide our I have a typo here. Inventory. Inventory. It's really hard for me to type sometimes. And of course, we are going to do this. And then we should be fine. But we also need to go, like we did before for our bullets, we need to go into the inventory slot and to the graph. and we close this event graph. We don't need that. And you can see here is all where all the magic happens for our slot. This on mouse button down event. This is what we need for the next couple of episodes. Because now, besides our item menu here, so we are basically creating our item menu inside our slot. So now from here we also can get the heal button. Get the heal button. And then we can just copy this set visibility. We need to have more space. Because we have to, for every item, we just doing a check. Yeah, we have a problem because I don't know why I did that. Now I realize this is not really smart. By default, everything is visible, right? But we should just switch it up. By default, it should be collapsed. And then we can just set every single item type to this specific button to visible. Makes more sense, and I think this should work. I just fear that it might not work. And this is why I didn't do it in the first place. But we will just try. So if I get the reload button, let's do this one collapsed. And this one, so all buttons are collapsed by default. But now if we go into our inventory slot, we know for the pistol bullets, so we can just completely disconnect everything. Let me just start. So just disconnect all those here. We can use the pistol bullets here. So for reload, we know this is visible. Everything else is collapsed by default anyway. And for, so regarding the reload button. For the heal button, we know that for the green herb, and for the first aid spray, and for all other healing items you add in your enumeration, this one can be visible when it's the healing button. Otherwise, everything else you can see will be, is collapsed. And then you can just connect this one to the viewport, and from there you can also just connect this to the viewport. Okay, I hope this one makes sense. So let's just try that. If we see our button, so there's no button for the pistol, but there's the button for reload, and we actually can press it. I can still reload, and we can pick up this herb, and the healing now is visible, and we can heal. But of course we need to remove it. Let me just try and give myself, like I damage myself right now. I just press F and damage myself to 50. So now let's just try again. Okay, yes, and then I had, okay, this is right, okay, so it is healing. I was just spamming the button, but it is healing. This is fine. So what we need to do is go into our healing function again, and then we are going to just remove. So let's get the inventory again, not this object. Of course we need to get the class. So the inventory class, get this one again. And we just remove. But the problem here is we can have 2 or 3 or 5 herbs in our inventory. So we cannot remove item, because this is removing all instances. We did this for our bullets, but we cannot do this here, because when we have 2 herbs, everything will vanish. So we need to try this time with the remove index. And we just going to find from our inventory. Okay, I'm back. I just had a small break because I had to leave, but now I stopped at removing the index of the green herb, right? Let me just do a print just to see if we find this particular index, because I might feel, I didn't try it yet, but in the last video the remove index for the bullets did not work, and it was really, really strange. Oh, he is removing it. Okay, this is pretty weird. Yes, of course he cannot find the index because the print needs to be before that. Because first we remove it. This looks weird. Because first we remove it, and then we cannot print it anymore because it's gone. So let me see. So this must be when we pick it up. This is slot number. This is slot 0, and this is the number 1. So it must be on number 1. The index, and it is. So in this case it's working. Okay, so I'm really satisfied. We can just use the remove index, and this is good because this means when we have several herbal items, and we can always use it, no matter if we have full health or not, we can just pick like 2, and then we can use this one. And this is, so for example, now I have 75, let me give some more damage, now I have 50, then I use this one, so now I should have 75, so if I press F again, I have 50 again. So this means the healing is working. The remove index is a little different than I thought. I did expect that when we find this BP item pistol in our item, which would be in this case, when we pick it up, let me see. So on slot, this is the first slot, and this first slot is always 0. When we trying to use the node find in our inventory array, this would be 0. So when we pick up the bullets in this case, would be 1. When we remove index, we are going to find the index 1, but he is removing the first instance. So the first found instance of this whole array. But in this case, we added 17. This means that our slot amount is projected correctly, but we still have 16 of those pistols, of those bullets inside our inventory, but we don't see them because our stack amount is 0, but not the instance of it. We still have 16. He's just removing the first found item of this array. So this is the reason. What I could do is, I was just testing this. I was just using a for loop. So this means from the first index to the last index 17 times. If this is true, so if we don't have the pistol bullets picked up anymore, which is a different value, this is just the stack amount value. But we are adding this item 17 times as well, but we are just removing the stack amount, right? I hope this makes sense. But still in the array, it's hidden. We still have 16 of those instances. So the remove index is not going to work for stackable items. So if I do a for loop, so I will just remove the instance, I will just remove all instances, so the index 17 times, then I can make sure, so let me just show you when I just do 16. When I just do 16 times, so I will call the remove index 16 times. So let me just get an empty magazine. And then I would still have this problem because I have one instance left because I was just deleting the index 16 times. So I have to loop it basically 17 times to really remove this item from my inventory. So so I found the reason, so I'm really happy now. But it doesn't make any sense, it's not really performant at all. And you have to consider, when we are not having bullets, picked up bullets anyway, it doesn't make sense. So we can just skip this for the bullets, and we can skip this for all stackable items, because when we are not having anything anymore, so our stack amount, we can just ignore this one, and we can just keep it like it is. So you don't need to change anything, because for stackable items it's completely fine. Of course, it makes even more sense to just completely remove all instances, because when we don't have any bullets anymore, we are going to remove everything. So when you hover over it, you can see remove all instances. So when we pick up 17 bullets, it's in one slot, but our array has 17 instances in reality. And our integer is just a projection. So the integer is not really connected to the amount of instances we really pick up. But for stackable items, so for bullets, shotgun bullets, pistol bullets, magnum bullets, all that stuff, it's completely fine when we are not having, when our amount is 0 or less than 0, everything of course gets removed. So let me see, for the herb, of course we only pick one up, because our herb is not a stackable item, right? When we go to our herb, here, we open that one up, we see current stack is always 1, max stack is always 1, because here we can see item is not stackable. So we can only pick up when we go to the grab function here. This is our grab function. We grab the item and we see item is not stackable. So here stackable is false. So the green herb and everything which is not stackable only gets added once. That's it. For the stackable items, yes, in this case ammunition, we can see the current stack, which is this value here. So depending, this is the value. So if you have a different type of ammo, for example for shotgun or magnum ammo, you have maybe a current stack of, let's say, 4 or 5 or 6. Then of course this would be the value for your shotgun or shotgun ammo, the current stack. And then if you grab a shotgun ammo, this one would be the shotgun ammo. So you overlap with this item. We see, oh, this is the shotgun ammo. Then we're reading the current stack from our shotgun ammo, and you define the value, for example, 5. And then this gets looped 5 times. So we are adding 5 here, the loop body. So we are adding 5 times, so 5 instances of this shotgun ammo, for example. This is perfect. And for stackable items, in this case here, pistol or magnum ammo, shotgun ammo, or anything else which is stackable, once we have stackable amount to 0 or less, then of course we are going to remove it anyway, because it's only sharing this one slot. So I hope this makes sense. So I just wanted to make sure why we cannot use this index on our pistol bullets. So now I found the issue, and it's not really an issue. It's actually exactly how we want it to be. So, okay, I hope this makes sense. Yeah, let me just delete this, and let me just think for a couple of seconds if I covered everything for this whole episode. Because I promised you that I will just show you another function, another button. In this case, we just added the heal button, and now you are good to go. Now you can heal, you can reload, and you also have a health system. So yes, I just changed my magazine from 17 to 1, so I can just shoot once. So it's faster for me to try it out. So don't be confused why it's 1. I just changed it so it's faster for me. Okay, so but for you, if you're still confused, you can see it here. In your player BP event begin play, we set this to 17, but I was just setting it to 1 just to empty my magazine faster. And yeah, okay. So this is it for this episode, and yeah, see you in the next one.